So what's up, people, and welcome to another episode of Comics, Animations, and Movies. So yet another video on the trailer for Alita Battle Angel. And as you know, or as you recall, I've made a couple of videos already with regards to the trailer. One was a spoiler-free synopsis of the basic trailer, and the other one was kind of a question and answer sort of video that went into a little bit of a spoiler with regards to some of the answers to common questions that came up when you were watching the video. However, as much as I enjoyed making those videos, the one I really wanted to make was this one, which is the deep discussion with regards to what we can expect from the movie, or what I predict from the movie, based upon the images that you saw and its reference to both the animation film as well as the manga comic. And so I should warn people, this is an extremely spoiler-rich video. And so if you have not read the manga or watched the anime, then I would suggest that you do not watch this video, because it probably may ruin the enjoyment that you will have when you watch the movie. But for everybody else, and I know there are quite a few, especially hardcore manga readers who follow the Battle Angel Alita series, and I wanted to go over some of the images that I saw and the predictions that I can make based upon the images that came out in the trailer. Now, these are my own opinion, and so they may be extremely wrong. I often am quite wrong with a lot of these things. But what I wanted to do was create some discussion points with regards to this and how you felt about the same images based upon the comments that I make. So yeah, if you have any comments, please post them in the comments section below. And for the people who haven't watched the manga or the animation, I would suggest not to even read the comments, because they may also be spoiler rich. The one thing I will ask the commenters is to avoid commenting on the climax of the Hugo arc. And the reason for that is I think it's actually a very strong and pivotal point of the entire story. At that point of the few chapters of the manga, of the whole animation, I would expect it to be a pivotal point with regards to the movie. And as much as I do say that this is a spoiler-rich one, I don't want that part to be exposed, because of the fact that anybody who sees it may seriously have their enjoyment ruined. So yeah, if you can describe around it, that's fine, but please don't really talk directly about what happens at the climax of the Hugo arc. Okay, so what I wanted to do was look at or discuss some of the images that came out in the actual trailer and what I felt with regards to some of the ideas that we may be getting with regards to the movie. And so I wanted to start off, what I'll say is for people who watch the anime and for people who read the manga, this will be really only about the first few chapters of the manga series, because that's what I feel the movie will go into. And so even for the people who watch the anime, this will relatively be spoiler free. However, the last few topics that I will go over may be a slight spoiler to people who watch the anime but haven't read the manga. And I will give a warning for those people so that if they wanted to, they could turn it off at that point. Now, for all you manga readers, that will probably give you an understanding. There will be no discussions with regards to Last Order. There will be no discussions with regards to Mars Chronicle. However, there are some parts that I've heard about with regards to the movie that does delve into the latter parts of the original manga series, which aren't covered in an anime. So I will keep that to the latter part of this video. Okay, so moving on. The first thing that I wanted to talk about, and I know a lot of people are probably thinking about this as well, is will this movie cover more like the manga, or will it cover more like the anime? And as much as the anime and the manga are very similar, there are some differences associated with it. And from watching the trailer, what I could figure out is I think Robert Rodriguez is actually looked at both the manga and the anime, and good for him for doing so. And he's actually taken points from both the anime and the manga and have incorporated them into the movie. And why I feel about this, and why I feel, for example, that he has taken parts from the anime is, for example, because of this image. Of course, this is Jennifer Connelly, and from all the information I can find, she is obviously taking the role of Chiren, which is a character that only comes out in the anime. And so from this image, I can see that Robert Rodriguez is at least taking points from the anime and not just from the manga. Now the other side, or the flip side, is of course is he taking the images or the story only from the anime? I don't think so, because of these other images, such as this one. Now these are the images of Alita looking at her arms and the intricate designs on her arms. And of course, people who read the manga and watched the anime know that this is a scene that only comes out in the manga. Similar sort of storyline does go in the anime, but it doesn't delve into these detailed, intricate designs on her arms. And to be honest, if Robert Rodriguez is going this direction, which indicates that he is also taking specific parts of the story that are only included in the manga and not in the anime, I'm kind of glad, because this was one part of the anime that kind of bummed me out. Because of course, it's through these arms that and the intricate patterned arms that Alita starts getting a little bit suspicious about what is going on with Daisuke Ito, or I guess in this case, the movie Dyson Ito. And of course, that starts making her go into the dark path of becoming a hunter warrior, or a bounty hunter, as he may be more commonly called. And it was a little bit less well done in the anime. I thought this part was really well done in the manga, and I hope that Robert Rodriguez does follow this line, because she starts looking at her arms and starts getting suspicious of exactly what the heck is going on. I won't go too much further into details to avoid spoilers, but I thought that was better done in the manga. I'm glad that Robert Rodriguez is putting this part into the actual movie. Now, another reason why I feel that the movie will take on parts of the manga which may not be in the anime is because of this image. Now, this may be an interesting image because this character looks very unusual. It doesn't look like anybody in either the manga or the anime. However, this is a sinister looking lady, and there aren't that many sinister looking ladies in either the manga or the anime at this first few chapters. And in fact, in the anime, there are no sinister looking ladies. So if there is a sinister looking lady, then the one that I could remember in the manga is this one. And as you can see, there really is no similarity between the two, but it is the only sinister lady that I could recall coming out in the manga. And the reason why I might think this character is this one character in the manga is because Daisuke Ito meets this sinister lady in the dark alleyways in the manga. And as you can see from this image, you can see Daisuke Ito down in the left-hand corner here, and this lady's here, and it is in a dark alleyway. So if it is this lady, then again, it does seem to indicate that Robert Rodriguez is taking some points that are in the manga that may not be in the anime. Now, what's interesting and what's unusual with regards to this image is, though it is in the dark alleyway, though it's a sinister lady, and you see Daisuke Ito in the left-hand corner, what's unusual is the shadowy figure that you see in the right-hand side of this image. I didn't notice that when I was looking at the trailer. I only noticed this shadowy figure when I took the image shot of this. But it does bring out unusual speculation that Robert Rodriguez, though taking both input from the manga as well as the anime, may be taking his own specific separate route with regards to this movie. And it may be because of the fact that he only has 2 hours or so with regards to this movie to cover a lot of topics of the manga and the anime. I'm not sure exactly with regards to that, but it does look like he is going his separate route. And I don't want to go too much more into the discussion here because it will delve into some of the things with regards to this next topic. But anyway, with regards to this, I do think that he is taking points from the manga as well as the anime, but in the end may be taking some separate route with regards to the story of the movie. Okay, so the next topic I wanted to cover was with regards to the Berserker body, and will Alita be getting the Berserker body in this movie? And my feeling is yes, for 2 reasons. One is a pure speculation reason, but the other is with regards to some of the images that you see in the trailer once again. So as you recall, in the beginning of the trailer, you notice that Alita is donning the porcelain arms. And so that indicates that she doesn't have her Berserker body at that time. However, in the latter part of the trailer, when you notice her talking to Hugo and offering her heart, if you look at it closely, her arms are no longer the porcelain arms that you see in the beginning. And it's a much, much darker hand that you see. And if you look at the shoulder or the left shoulder, then you notice that it is also the arms and the shoulders are also darker than the porcelain white arms that you see in the beginning of the trailer. And these darker colors are much more in line with the Berserker body that she should be getting later on in the story. And of course, by the time she does offer her heart to Hugo, she should have the Berserker body, so everything seems to align well. Now, I don't think she is wearing gloves in this case, because Alita usually doesn't wear gloves. I mean, later on, she does wear fingerless gloves in the Zapan arc. And of course, in the Tooned arc, she's wearing a full bodysuit. But in the beginning chapters, she doesn't wear any gloves. So I think these colors are her real arms. And if that's the case, then it does indicate that she will be getting her Berserker body. Now, this makes sense from a speculative point of view as well, because of the fact that, of course, the movie will incorporate the Hugo arc. And in the Hugo arc, of course, Lita needs her Berserker body to be able to defeat this guy. Yeah, Clive Lee, the ferocious bounty hunter. Yeah. Anyway, yeah, I mean, if you recall, as strong as Alita is in the first few chapters, she has nowhere near learned anything with regards to her Panzerkunst martial arts skills. And so at this point, she really isn't strong enough to be able to take on an adversary like Clive Lee. And the only way she'll be able to take him down, I should say, is of course with the electroplasma powers that comes from the Berserker body. And so, yeah, if things go the way we expect, and if she is to battle Clive Lee, then she will need her Berserker body to be able to win that battle. Now, we haven't heard anything with regards to who will be playing Clive Lee in the movie. But I'm hoping that it will be Jackie Earle Haley, because we have heard that he will be in the movie, but they haven't announced which part he will play. And so if they're keeping it a secret, that it may be a part as important as Clive Lee. And I think Jackie Earle Haley will do a phenomenal job if he is the one that actually plays Clive Lee. Now, the one unusual thing I noticed with regards to the trailer and the Berserker body is coming from this scene. And basically, the unusual thing is the timing. Now, this scene, I figure, is the battle between Alita and Makaku that occurs underneath the bar. You notice that at the end of the trailer, Alita is jumping off into a hole and landing at the bottom. Well, that, if I recall, occurs when she battles the Makaku underneath the bar. And of course, this does look like Makaku. Now, there's a couple of unusual things with regards to this, but the first one that I wanted to talk about with regards to a Berserker body is, if you notice, she has her porcelain arms at this point, which is very unusual because of the fact that in both the manga and the anime, it's the second battle with Makaku that occurs underneath the bar, and by that time she should have her berserker body. The fact that she has her porcelain arms at this point indicates that something may have changed with regards to how Robert Rodriguez is creating the chronology of the story. Either that there isn't going to be a first fight and it immediately goes into the second fight, or Alita won't be getting her berserker body until after the second fight, which would be also unusual as well. It'll be interesting to see how Robert Rodriguez does the Makaku part of the entire story, because it is quite an important one in the very beginning for Alita to understand who she is and how strong she is. And it's also quite important because of the fact that the reason she gets her berserker body is because of her battle with Makaku. Now, the other interesting thing goes back to that photo from before. If you recall, there was the dark alleyway scene, and you see that large figure at the back of the scene. And if I recall from the comic as well as the anime, the only really dark character, or the large character I should say, that came out in the dark alleyway scenes is Makaku. And then, of course, this will make sense if that's Makaku, except then who the heck is this lady up front? Because if you recall from both the comic and the anime, Makaku's partner looks something like this. Yeah, this Izuchi guy. And this lady definitely doesn't look like this Izuchi guy. And so I'm not really sure what's going on. I mean, I talked about this before. This lady may be that nasty lady that I showed before. But then in this scene, maybe she's Izuchi. Maybe what Robert Rodriguez is doing is trying to make things a little bit more efficient by kind of combining those two characters together. Because, yeah, it is true. I mean, Dyson Ito meets both that nasty lady as well as Izuchi and Makaku in a similar sort of dark alleyway scene, so maybe he's putting it all together to try to keep things efficient in time. There's a lot of story to tell, and so maybe he's trying to do things to speed up the story. I don't know. So long as he does it well, I don't mind. But if he starts tampering with the story to make the story look really bad, then I will get a little bit upset. Now, one thing I do have to admit, James Cameron is a very good storyteller, and he does it in a very smooth manner. So if he has any input with regards to this, and I hear that he's writing much of the story, then we may be in for a pretty good treat regardless of how things go. So I'm looking forward to seeing if this changes, how this changes, and I hope this changes for the good. Okay, so that's about it right now that I want to talk about with regards to the Berserker body. Now there's one more topic. This is getting a little bit long, so I'll probably make a part 2 with regards to this. Now there's one more topic I do want to talk about in this episode, or in this video, and it does go outside of the anime part. And it will go a little bit into the Motorball part. And so if anybody who's only watched the anime doesn't want to hear any spoilers with regards to the Motorball, then you could turn off the video right now. But I do want to ask one question with regards to the Motorball part. Okay, so if you're still here, I presume that you're okay with us continuing on with our discussions. Okay, so to Motorball. So according to what I hear in the grapevine, the one request that the author Yukito Kishiro made to James Cameron and maybe Robert Rodriguez even was that they include Motorball in the movie. Now, when I first heard that, I thought, oh gosh, what are you doing? Because how do you incorporate Motorball into the first few chapters of the movie? I mean, Motorball, if you recall in the comic book arc, is a very long arc. At least in the beginning parts of the comic, it's a very long arc, relatively speaking. I think it's longer than both the first arc, the Makaku arc, and the Hugo arc put together. And so how are you going to smash that into the movie was beyond me. Now then, recently I heard that one of the ways they were going to do it was to make Hugo a motorball player. I went, are you kidding me? What the heck are you guys doing? You're going to make Hugo into a motorball player and put him in the motorball arc? That just destroys everything with regards to the Hugo arc. But then I thought about it for a while and I realized, hey, maybe this may actually work. I mean, one of the things that I had a little bit of a concern with regards to the comic or the manga comic was the abruptness in which they went from the Hugo arc to the motorball arc. I mean, all of a sudden, everything stops and then basically in the next arc, Alita is a motorball player, right? And then this entire story changes to this huge motorball scene and you have an understanding of exactly why she went to motorball. It's because she wanted to get away from it all because of the things that she experiences during the Hugo arc, right? And so she wants to get away from it all, and that's perfectly fine. But in the comic, you're wondering, motorball? Why motorball? Where the heck did she learn about motorball? Right? I mean, she's perfectly running around, kind of a naive young girl in the first few chapters, and then in the next chapter, all of a sudden, she's like this downhearted motorball player. And I'm like, what the heck happened, you know? And part of it was, you know, in the comic was, well, you know, it's Alita coming to age, but it really didn't continue well between the Hugo arc and the motorball arc. But now, if Robert Rodriguez and James Cameron are going to make Hugo a motorball player, but don't put him into the motorball arc, then I think that might be a really good way to solve that problem, because then, of course, Hugo will introduce Alita to the game of motorball. He'll probably even, you know, go to motorball and show her the game, and then maybe even introduce her to other motorball players, which she'll, of course, know in the motorball arc, because supposedly there are going to be other cast who are going to be in there as motorball players in this movie. And so if that's the way they're going to do it, that Hugo is a new, upcoming player in motorball and still trying to make it in motorball, and he's all excited and he shows Alita his wonderful world of motorball. This makes perfect sense that it segues into motorball, because now once she wants to get away, she knows about motorball, and it fills three things, I think. First, it resolves the problem of where the heck did she learn about motorball? She'll learn about motorball from Hugo, and Hugo will introduce that. Now, if she wants to get away from it all, that's the only other world she knows, so that's the world that she'll go to. The second is, of course, the things that everybody, all the readers and the anime viewers know with regards to the things that happened in the Hugo arc. For that very thing and for that very purpose, she would want to go to motorball, because that was Hugo's favorite sport, right? She would want to embrace that. And then third is it will give her the ability to continue to be against Vector, as potentially an adversary, maybe eventually an ally. It's a little bit hard to say how this is going to move forward, but you know how the Hugo arc ends with Vector, and according to what I hear in the grapevine, Vector is going to be one of the bigwigs that owns the business of Motorball. So that will continue that adversarial relationship. And so I think that's really good. I mean, if you're going to have Mahershala Ali come out, somebody of that caliber come out, you want to have him out as much as possible. And although the comic book series never really linked Vector's position to owner of the Motorball game, it makes sense, because if you recall, and I'm sorry, I'll put a little bit of a spoiler in to Last Order, he was the main link of communication between the Zot what was that called? Zat's Championship, the Battle Championship in Last Order, and the Scrapyard City. So if he has that sort of connection to the various sports organizations, then it would be natural for him to be a bigwig in the motorball world as well. So that, I think, is a really good segue and a really good way of continuing the story to the next sequel to Alita Battle Angel, if there's going to be a sequel to Alita Battle Angel. So I hope they do it well, because if they do it wrong, wow, there will be some terrible lashback from the Battle Angel Alita fan community, because my gosh, the Hugo arc, if that gets destroyed, I mean, that was such a prominent arc in the beginning parts of the comic book series, and it's basically all of what the anime is all about. And so if you destroy that, you are going to get some major hate from the fan community. On the other hand, if you do it well, then it actually will help a lot of the people who haven't read the Motorball to understand what the heck is going on. I mean, if you see Motorball without any explanation between the first and second movie, you'll go, what the heck is going on? However, if they do it well, they'll be like, oh yeah, this makes perfect sense, right? That Alita is now a Motorball player. And it will definitely resolve a lot of the what the heck, the WTF, I guess, sort of questions that come up right in the beginning when you see Alita come out as a Motorball player. Okay, so that's about it for this video. I want to continue on because there's a lot of other questions that I want to go into, and there's another Motorball question that I want to do, but that one goes into actually a fairly great amount of spoilers. I mean, even for the people who read the first Battle Angel Alita series, what I want to talk about with regards to that and Motorball seems to go into something that you would have had to read Last Order to at least understand. So yeah, it'll be even more spoiler rich than this one. So if you want to join us, yeah, please do so. But I do want to warn people that I will be digging further and further into the story as we go along. Okay, well, thank you very much for watching this video. If you have any comments with regards to the questions I made and would be able to answer them, then that would be good. Now, once again, I do ask people to avoid going over and giving away the major climactic point of the Hugo arc, because I figure that that's going to be the major climactic point of the movie. And but aside from that, I figure, well, yeah, this is a major spoiler to a lot of people. I'm giving as many spoiler warnings as possible. So if you're there and if you heard all these spoiler warnings, and if you're here, then I presume that you chose to be here regardless of the warnings. Okay, if not, then don't read those comments. And by this time, of course, you probably won't be seeing this part of the video anyway, so you won't be hearing my warnings with regards to not to read the comments. Okay, well, we'll continue on with more Battle Angel Alita videos in the future, and I'm really starting to enjoy these discussions. So for anybody who comments, thank you in advance, and for anybody who's watching, thank you for watching, and I hope you continue to join us in our future Gunnm or Battle Angel Alita video topics. Okay, so until the next video, happy comic book reading, happy anime watching, and happy waiting of the motion picture. And as always, Jaya, nice day, everyone.